What is up, guys, and welcome back to the DocMack Car Channel. Today what we're going to do is a tune-up on this Toyota Camry. It's a 2012 Toyota Camry with a 2ARFE engine. That's a 2.5 liter engine. It does run from the year 2009 all the way through to the year 2017. This is the 2012 to 2017 model, or 2012 to the 2015 model, and also applies up to the 2017 model. So this video is going to be a jam-packed video. It includes the spark plug change for all 4 spark plugs, the engine air filter change, as well as the mass airflow sensor cleaning. Now I'm going to discuss all the tools that I'm going to use, why you should use and shouldn't use certain tools, what spark plug gap is, what plugs you should use, what the torque settings of the plug is. Torque settings are very important, or it may damage your engine if you do not torque them down properly. So it's going to be a really jam-packed episode, so make sure to view the whole video. And this is going to be a dealership level service where you can do it and save hundreds of dollars. So without further ado, let me get into it. But if you haven't already, consider subscribing, giving this video a like, and also a super thanks if you haven't already. So a super thanks basically is you can donate some money to the channel if you'd like. So the super thanks will be visible when you put your phone into the portrait mode. So without further ado, let me get into it. Alright guys, so the tools we're going to need is a 5/8 inch spark plug socket. We're going to need an extension. You can use a 3/8 or a 1/2 inch ratcheting wrench, a 1/4 inch ratcheting wrench, a 1/4 inch extension, a 1/4 inch to 10 millimeter socket. Now you can actually complete this job either with a 1/2 inch or a 3/8 inch. A 3/8 inch is this kind of square. This is a 3/8 inch drive, and if you look at this, this is a 1/2 inch drive. Now what I'd recommend is to do it with a 3/8, because if you do it with 1/2 inch, you might over torque it, because you got more leverage on the plug, and that might cause you to over torque it. Now this is a spark plug gapping tool, and I'll get into what this is for later. This is a 5/8 spark plug socket, and this is a 5/8 socket. Now they both look the same, but if you really look at this, this is an example spark plug that I've taken out from another vehicle. Now if you put this one into the 5/8, there's a lot of clearance on the back. However, if you put this into a non-spark plug socket, which is also a 5/8, and you put this here, looks perfect, isn't it? But when you put this one in, see what happens. You'll damage the plug. So it is very important that you guys need to have the deep well spark plug socket, which is 5/8. So you can see there's a difference in the length of it, and this is the one that you'll need. So I'll just put that aside. We don't need that anymore. Alright guys, so these are the things that you do need, and these are optional. So what I have here is a 3/8 inch torque wrench and a 1/4 inch torque wrench. Now because the spark plug socket I have is a 1/2 inch, I'm going to use an adapter which is from 3/8 to 1/2 inch. Okay, so that will work. Now the other thing I'm going to use is a swivel socket with a 5/8 inch end. So what this one does is it actually grips the spark plug by magnetic force. So it's very easy to take your spark plugs in and out. And I'm also going to get into why you should or shouldn't have a spark plug boot in here, but I'll get to the video first, and then I'll explain to you guys later exactly what we need to do. So now this one is the engine air filter, and these are the spark plugs which are needed. These are Denso iridium spark plugs. Now I believe when you're going to work on a Toyota, you always want to go genuine Toyota parts. It's only 4 spark plugs, and it is a air filter as well. So all of this cost me 185 New Zealand dollars. And then the other thing which we're going to do, when we're going to clean the mass airflow sensor, which is this one right here, these are the tools that we're going to need. So you want to do it with a mass airflow sensor cleaner. and a Phillips screwdriver of your choice. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright guys, and so this is the engine cover. So what we need to do is, these are actually held on by pegs. You don't need any screwdriver for this one. And all you need to do is just push up. Like so. And you can see, these are where the peg holes are. Right here, right there, and right here. And your pegs are right here, and right there. These are your ignition coils, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now the first thing you want to do is you want to take your 1/4 inch ratcheting wrench, your 1/4 inch extension, to the 10mm to a 1/4 inch drive. Now what you want to do is you want to loosen this 10mm bolts, like so. So this one is an impact wrench, it's a power tool. Now, you never want to torque down a spark plug, screw in a spark plug, or unscrew a spark plug with this one. But what you can do is, for these 10mm screws, you can do it very slowly. If you have one of this, it's not mandatory. I'm just doing a very, very slow torque on it to undo it. And there you go. So I'm going to do the same thing for these 4 screws. Now the 10mm screws are all out. Now before you remove the ignition coil or do any unclippings, you want to make sure you clean any crud on top of the engine first. You don't want them to fall into the spark plug socket. So you can see how clean that has become. And remember guys, if you like what you see in this video, consider subscribing, giving this video a thumbs up, and also giving a super thanks. Alright guys, now we have done the cleaning, we're going to get into removing the ignition coils. What I'm doing is I'm inserting a screwdriver under this tip and then pushing. And there we go, that's out. So I didn't break the clip guys, and what I had done is I had inserted the screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, just under this one, very, very slight pressure, and then you push this and pull it out and it came out nicely. So this is your 5/8 socket, your extension, and your ratcheting wrench. Put it right down there, and you want to feel that you're grabbing the plug first. Okay, so I've grabbed the plug, and lefty loosey, righty tighty, lefty loosey. So you're going to go counterclockwise, and you want to do this one quite slow, and never use an impact tool on this spark plugs. And there you go guys, that is the spark plug. And now you might have noticed that the socket got stuck in there earlier, and I'm going to explain to you why that is. Alright guys, so the reason why this one got stuck inside here earlier is because on some of them the spark plug rubber boot in here can be quite tight and it can grip the plug and it can get stuck right down there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the boot out. I'm going to use this one, which is a magnetic swivel socket, to just tighten it, and then I'm going to torque it down later. So as you can see, these are the original Denso SK16 HR11s, And this is the gapping tool. And this is how you can check the gap, by actually putting it in here and seeing exactly where it stops. So the gap for this plug should be 0.044 inches, which the gap on this one is good. It looks fine, but I'm going to change it anyway. So this is the new plug and this is the old one. As you can see, the old one still looks good, but might as well change it. Now you can see the gap on this one looks much tighter and nicer, so I'm going to go and do that. Now these are pre-gapped from the factory, so you don't need to actually gap them. I'm going to take my magnetic swivel socket and I'm going to grip the plug like so. And you've got a little crush washer here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread it down. And you're only going to thread it in by hand. So now what we're going to do is we're going to torque it down. Okay, so now I've set this one to 25 Newton meters, which is equivalent to 18 foot-pounds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten it. And then that should stop at 25 Newton meters. And you should hear an audible click. Alright guys, and then that is 25 Newton meters when you hear that click. And then you pull that one out. You see the socket didn't get stuck this time because I pulled the boot out. That's the boot. Alright guys, another thing is with a torque wrench, you should never loosen stuff with a torque wrench or thread stuff into the torque wrench. A torque wrench is only used for its primary purpose, which is to torque things down. Now we have torqued the spark plug down to 25 Newton meters, or for those of you in the USA, is 18 foot-pounds. Now you're going to put the ignition coil back in, like so. And what you could also do is when you're putting the ignition coil back in, you want to put the wire over so that you can clip it back in like this, like so, and then seat it down and make sure that it's properly seated in. Alright, then what we're going to do is we're going to insert the 10mm bolt. And I'm going to take my impact wrench right here. I'm going to go slowly. You don't need an impact wrench for this one. You can just use your 10mm ratcheting wrench. Okay, so that's not fully tightened down. It's still loose. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your torque wrench. This is a 1/4 inch torque wrench. It ranges from about 3 through to 27 Newton meters. So I'm going to clip this one in here. Now this bolt has got to be torqued down to 10 Newton meters or 7 foot-pounds. So the one I have shows in inch pounds, which is about 88 inch pounds. And if I look at Newton meters, it's about 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to torque it down until I hear an audible click. All right, that should do it. This is the second spark plug which we are removing. Some of you may be screaming at the camera that I've got to put anti-seize and dielectric grease. However, because these ones are made for these type of engines, you don't need to. If you do put dielectric grease here, no big harm. But if you do put anti-seize right here, then you run the risk of torquing the spark plug down too much by 20%. So now I'm going to thread it down. And then as you're putting this one back in, lift it up at an angle so you don't tear the wires. Thread your 10mm screw back in and torque it down to 10 Newton meters. Insert the plug into the tip and then screw it down. Alright, last thing is we're going to torque it down. Ignition coil back in. And clip this one back in. Screw back in. Ignition coil comes out. No oil, that's great. Alright guys, that's the last of the plug. See if there's any oil. Oh, there's a little bit of oil on the plug, so that's a bit concerning. Alright guys, last plug to go. I suspect there might be a valve cover gasket leak which is leaking into the spark plug well. Now this might be another video for me to do later, but for now it should be fine. Let's just clean the engine cover down. You can just clean it with some soap. I can use some seat cleaner here, that's fine. So you want to align it with the pegs down the bottom, and I'll show you where the pegs are at the start of this video. Alright guys, and we're going to give the engine a start now. Alright guys, so the next thing we want to do is we want to clean the mass airflow sensor, which is this one. This is what measures the air-fuel ratio for it to go into the intake system. So this is a very integral part, and if it doesn't work very well, you can get the idling speed actually drop, or you may get the engine start to stall. So you just need to unbolt this one with 2 Phillips head screwdrivers, and also just unclip this one right here. Just before we remove this mass airflow sensor, you can see how much dirt came off that. Alright, perfect, that should be good enough. Now what you want to do is you want to pinch this clip down, the same thing like we did for the spark plugs. Pinch it down and then pull the clip out. So what you need to do is you will just need to push this little clip down. You need to push it down hard, and then while you're pushing it down hard, you need to pull it away. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to unscrew this one down. Wiggle it out, and that is your mass airflow sensor. Put a tape up on this hole, and what we're going to do is we're just going to place a tape over this hole, because what we'll need to do is there's a little pitot tube in here, and that's what we actually need to clean. So we'll need this one out of the car for at least half an hour, and you don't want any crud dropping in. Now what we're going to use is we're going to use the mass airflow sensor cleaner. Now you only want to use mass airflow sensor cleaner for the mass airflow sensor. Do not use anything else, if not you're definitely looking for trouble. This is the bit we need to clean. You can see there's a little pitot tube in there. So what I'm going to do is, this is a high pressured can, so I'll just put it down because the wind is blowing currently, and you want to spray it into that area. You never want to touch the speedo tube, if not that'll cause false readings and your engine may actually stall. You want to do it this way, and you want to do it that way, and then you want to give one quick burst like so. That will make sure that it's quite clean. What you want to do is you want to also do it this way. Now this liquid will evaporate, so it's safe. So you want to do it on both sides. I just did it on both sides. Now you want to allow this one to dry for about 30 minutes before you reinstall it. Alright guys, so now what you're going to do is you're going to just clean this down a little bit further, because we're going to do the air filter box. You don't want to touch this electrical connection for the mass airflow sensor, so just be mindful of that one. Alright, so to replace the engine air filter, all we need to do is there's a little tab right here, and you'll need to pop the tab off. That's the first one, and this one is the second tab, right here. There you go. So that's two tabs off. And now what you want to do is you want to lift the box this way for 45 degrees this way, because you need to slide these out if you want them out. So there you go. And this is your engine air filter. Now as you can see, this engine air filter doesn't look too bad, but I'm going to get it changed anyway, because this one had been changed at 86,000 kilometers and it's 146,000 kilometers now. So there are little dust particulates in there which you can't see. Oh, there you go. There's a little bit in there. It's not the worst, but still, might as well change it. You can see it's a bit black. So now when you lift this box up, it is always best to loosen the screw, but because I'm not putting it up all the way, it doesn't really matter too much. Now this is your genuine air filter for this vehicle, and this is the code, the part number for it. And this is a genuine Toyota part. Now you can get filters for about 10 bucks, but if I were you, I'll go with Toyota genuine parts, which this is. Alright, and you want to just fit it straight back in, like so. All you need to do is just make sure that this one goes back into the groove, and this one, which would have been back in the groove, and then all you need to do is you just need to clip it back in here, like so, and clip it back in here, like so. Alright, so that's your engine air filter change done, and now no crud got in, just cleaned it down nicely. Now you can take out this air filter box if you'd like, but you got to take off all this sensors at the back, and you also got to take this little bracket out, but because it is not so bad, we don't need to do that one. Just another top tip: if you guys have got the engine stalling, it's dropping revs, or it just idles for a while and then it kills the engine, the mass airflow sensor is something you might want to consider thinking about when it's fitted into the car just like it normally is. If you unplug the mass airflow sensor from this little wiring harness here, and the revs return to normal, and then when you plug it back in, if the revs go up and down and up and down, that would be a symptom of a bad mass airflow sensor. Alright guys, and that completes the job. So we have done 4 spark plugs, an engine air filter, and also the cleaning of the mass airflow sensor. So this will ensure that your car runs smooth now, and you're really going to enjoy your ride. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, share this with your friends, and also give this video a thumbs up. Also feel free to give the super thanks if you'd like to. For those of you who do not know what the super thanks is, there's a little love thanks button down the bottom, which you can donate some money if you'd like to. Alright guys, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright guys, just before you start this job, for those of you who are a little afraid that something electronic might go wrong with the vehicle, I would recommend to take out the negative battery terminal in your vehicle and just keep that down to the side, just so that no electrical gremlins come to your vehicle. Now, if you do unplug your battery and you leave it for more than 30 minutes, you could lose the memory in the car and it might actually stall the vehicle out. So I've got a specific video on how you can actually overcome that issue. I'll link that down in the description below, how you don't need to actually lose any memory in your vehicle by using this one specific great tool. I hope this video has been useful and informative. Thanks guys.